It's safe to say that one of the most memorable characters from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is Ryo Marufuji, or Zane Truesdale in the English dub. His stoic personality paired with his Cyber Dragon OTK deck shines through in the limited duels that he has in Season 1, and his darker aspects as the Hell Kaiser from Season 2 onward solidified him as the edgelord we all love. He had high expectations as the best duelist the Academy had to offer, and began his career as a pro duelist with a 10-game win streak. After he suffers defeat to Edo Phoenix, Ryu hits a wall and loses 10 straight games. It gets to the point where he is no longer dueling in arenas and is dropped by his sponsor. Ryu begins to question himself and has self-doubts. The question is, how did he get there? Ryu in Season 1 is seen as the greatest thing since sliced bread. He is the school's ace and carries himself as such. He's stoic, humble, understands the purpose of duels, and is that person that the entire school looks up to. When Judai challenges him to a duel in Episode 8, Ryu wins in convincing fashion. It marked the first time that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist lost without the use of any shenanigans. With Ryu being held in such a high regard, Judai now has a goal to meet: become as strong as Ryu. The other notable relationship is Sho. Sho is the younger brother and the weaker of the two.
Duel Academy を受験するよ。僕もデュエリストになりたいんだ。
お前がそうしたいと言うなら止めはしない。デュエリストへの道は自分の力で切り開いていくしかない。お前にその覚悟はあるか？
Ryu is harsh to his brother when it comes to expectations in dueling. He bans Sho from using the Power Bond card because Sho is not ready to use it. At first glance, it's easy to believe that Ryu is a jerk to his brother. He's curt, blunt, and scolds Sho early and often. As the season develops, it comes from a place of tough love, and Sho realizes that his brother is challenging him to become a stronger duelist in person. We know that Ryu is seen as the role model for both Judai and Sho, but it further extends to the rest of the main cast. Instructor Kronos, Manjome, Masawa, and Fubuki refer to Ryu as Kaiser, a title that generally means emperor, but in this case a title for royalty. With how talented he is, Ryu could have easily been the one called to ward off the 7-star assassins, and no one would question it. When the best duelists and Professor Daitokuji are assembled to protect the keys, Ryu allows Judai to jump the gun and take the key first. Ryu has that much faith in Judai and his ability as a duelist that Ryu plays a passive role during this arc. After Kronos is defeated by Camula, Ryu is the one that takes it seriously enough to attempt to end the threat immediately. He takes her head on at her castle with the rest of the gang arriving early. Although Ryu is given a challenge from Camula, he has all the tools to win. It takes Camula to take possession of Sho and wagering his soul against Ryu's that causes Ryu to hesitate from dueling any further.
お兄さん、勝って、お兄さん。お兄さんは誇り高いカイザーで、僕の自慢で目標なんだ。だから僕なんかのために負けないで。
The brothers communicate with each other through their souls, and Sho tells Ryu that it is okay to win the duel. Sho laments how weak he is and that Ryu still has so much going for him. As the older brother, Ryu accepts defeat to save the younger one. His reason for doing this is because he knows how much more growth there is in store for Sho. He loses the duel, and Camula takes possession of his soul. This doesn't last long as Judai beats her without too much time passing and is able to rescue him as well as Kronos. Ryu is right to have faith in Judai, and he shows more of the character traits that have him held in that high regard. Not only is Ryu a strong and confident person, but he's also one that seeks potential in others and motivates them to be better. Ryu selects Judai to be his opponent for this graduation duel.
俺は今お前を対戦者に指名したことを後悔している。何？まだ気づかないのか？自分の愚かさに。
ふざけるな！今日の俺は戦略戦術ともにパーフェクトだぜ。
小手先のデュエルほどみっともないものはない。
なんだと？俺のデュエルが小手先だってのはどういうことだよ。
まだわからないのか？頭を使うなど最もお前らしくない。
いっけねえ、頭使いすぎて腹減ってきた。
In a duel to pass the torch to Judai so that he can move on to grander things, Ryu goes all out against Judai with the pair having fun and ends it in a draw. The prodigy did not go out losing, and the expectation is still the same for him: win and become great.
おう、任せろ、卒業生。卒業おめでとう。ああ。
Season 2 starts off brightly for Ryu. As I had mentioned earlier, he wins 10 straight and then runs into Edo. The duel is highly anticipated, with it being broadcast as a live duel between the Kaiser and Edo, revealing his actual or best deck. In this duel, Edo reveals that he also plays hero cards, but it doesn't end in a draw. Edo takes complete control of the duel and dominates Ryu. The loss shocks everyone in the school, but the most damage is done to Ryu. The context before this event illustrates that duelists who take on Edo lose the will to duel. To be fair, This was also something that the Light of Destruction had a hand in, but Ryu is not directly involved in this plot point the entire season. Ryu did not lose his will to duel, but he's now officially in a rut. He loses the next 10 duels and plays at a nearly empty venue with his sponsor dropping him. In a short period of time, Ryu faces true adversity with no clear solution or escape. The boy that was held in such high regard in school is now a man with no direction in the real world. Because of the nature of pro dueling, it can be easily interpreted as real-life sports. There will always be someone younger, better, faster, stronger, and more talented than you. Ryu's approach to dueling with respect has gotten him nowhere fast, and a shady promoter takes advantage of this. He tells Ryu that there is a place where Ryu can get his fighting spirit back and get back to winning ways. What he doesn't tell him is that Ryu will be dueling inside of a steel cage against a convict while they both wear shot gear that legitimately hurts them if they take any life point damage. With his back against the wall and death staring him down, Ryu wills the win into existence and feeds into his dark nature by going for the OTK. After dueling in this environment, the man with no direction becomes the Hell Kaiser. He not only destroys his next opponent in the pro leagues, he also goes on a 10-game win streak. He feels that his deck requires more and travels to what I think are the Himalayas to face Headmaster Samejima, since he also happened to be his sensei at the Cyber Art Dojo. After typing, then recording that sentence, I get why people think GX is lame. Anyway. Samejima tries to appeal to the good-natured kid that he had trained in the ways of the Cyber Dragon, but Ryu is not having it and wants to expand the power of his deck. He beats Samejima and finds the other half of the Cyber Dragons, the Cyber Darks. His next appearance is during the Gen X tournament where he decides to participate to find strong duelists. He has a brief run-in with Edo, where Edo believes that Ryu is looking for vengeance, but Ryu is not bothered by the thought of it. Most other anime would have the stoic character that is in the middle of an anti-hero run follow through with it. Ryu, however, does not. The dichotomy of his character is in full effect during this part of the season. He is not a man of vengeance or of petty nature where he needs to get his run back against someone he lost. He is a man that is willing to put his younger brother through the same traumatic experience with the shot gear duels ruthlessly. Ryu has a dark side and had fully embraced it. The interesting part is that he is still a kind person. Before these encounters, Fubuki said that he would liberate Ryu from the darkness. Fubuki uses the Mask of Darkness to take on Ryu, but slowly begins to succumb to the power again. Judai and Sho spectate the duel and notice that Ryu is no longer respectful to his deck as he casually throws away cards due to a trap effect to reduce the attack damage to 0. In the Yu-Gi-Oh world, you just don't mishandle your deck. Ryu did this, but calls out to Fubuki and pulls him out of the clutches of darkness. Fubuki recognizes that Ryu is still the same person. Hell Kaiser just happens to be a new part of him. Even with the brief appearances through Season 2, we can get a firm grasp of Ryu's character evolution. He is no longer the stoic student that was the golden child from Duel Academy. He's not the fresh prodigy entering the world. He's a battle-tested, no-nonsense, and complicated man that is pursuing the ultimate duel. He does eventually get his duel, but at a cost. Season 3 challenges our cast of characters in multiple ways. Ryu is not heavily involved during the first half of the season, but does play his part in going all out against Johan to create enough dueling energy to send Rainbow Dragon to the dimension Duel Academy is stuck in. After the school returns, Ryu overhears the Yubel backstory and how they are tethered to Judai. While talking to Edo, Ryu clutches at his chest. He says that he's alright, but we know that's a lie. 19 or 20-year-olds don't clutch at their chest after an irregular heartbeat. Later that night, Judai travels to the location where a portal can be opened. Ryu watches Judai from a distance and notes that Judai has begun his own journey to adulthood. Edo tells Ryu that he understands that Judai will do anything to save his friend, and the rest of the gang will aid him. Ryu tells Edo that he is also still a child. Because of what we had seen Ryu go through, we understand what he means by this. Ryu has seen how cruel the world is and how one must face adversity. Ryu made his own decisions to move forward. Those decisions shaped him into a more complicated person. He cares for his closest friends and family, but is also willing to engage in dangerous activities when pushed to. What he told Edo turns out to be true. Judai embarked on a journey to a different dimension to save Johan with the mentality of a child and endangered his group. It gets to the point that Manjome, Asuka, Kenzan, and Fubuki are all sacrificed for the super polymerization card. Sho abandons Judai while Jim and O'Brien scold him. Judai now faces adversity the same way Ryu did in Season 2. Judai turns to a darker side of himself the same way Ryu did. Judai's journey to adulthood has a much harsher start than Ryu's, so how does Ryu respond to this? First, he rescues Sho from certain doom but feels his chest pain again. Sho asks Ryu what he should do, but Ryu bluntly tells him that he already knows. Ryu never sugarcoated things for Sho. He was always direct but told him what he needed to hear. Sho makes a vow to see Judai's fate until the end. Ryu was sure to encourage his brother to keep moving forward and quickly makes his way to his next target, finding the Supreme King. He and Edo ask some grunts if it is true that Judai is the Supreme King, then head to the captives where they team up with O'Brien and charge to the Supreme King's castle. There they hold off the Supreme King's henchmen while O'Brien duels the king. Ryu and Edo witness the end of the duel and see that Judai has returned from the darkness at the cost of O'Brien's life. When Judai comes to, Edo is the one to comfort him while Ryu is in the background looking at the current state of Judai. He is no longer the child that wanted to have fun while dueling. Judai is broken. After the events of the duel between Edo and Amon, Judai attempts to keep advancing to find Johan and eventually encounters a new gate. When Judai tries to go to it, Ryu stops him and asks if he can help Johan in his current state. Judai says that he needs to keep trying and that answer is not good enough for Ryu. He challenges Judai to a duel where Judai half-heartedly takes his first turn. Ryu breaks down Judai's horrible first turn and tells him exactly what he could have done to clear Ryu's field. Ryu is angry at watching Judai for being helpless and is willing to deliver the final blow before his cardiac issues stop him from doing lethal damage. Judai understands people from dueling, but he could not understand what Ryu was trying to tell him. After Judai and Sho leave Ryu and Kronos, the gate opens and Dark Johan makes his appearance. Ryu takes on Dark Johan and is ready to go full force. During the duel, he knows that all he must do is beat Yubel to free Johan. Judai and Sho return to watch the Hell Kaiser in his final duel, but Ryu will not allow Judai to take over the duel for him. Ryu has now found the ultimate duel and fights his failing heart to keep going until there is a conclusion. Ryu pushes his body to its limits to summon his cyber dragons, and Judai now understands what Ryu was trying to do in their third duel against each other. Ryu was telling Judai that he needs to have conviction in his actions and face adversity as a man, not as a child. Judai needed to grow up and understand that his situation is a direct consequence for his actions and needed to confront it, not shy away from it. Ryu's body and heart are failing due to all the duels with the shock gear and willpower he needed to have to wield the Cyberdarks. Ryu understands the consequence of his actions. He is facing death regardless of who wins the duel. Judai thanks Ryu for the final piece of advice.
Kaiser!
In Season 4, it is revealed that Ryu had survived the Yubel incident. He was in critical condition, but was able to recover. Sho is his primary caretaker and is in a wheelchair. Although his appearance in this season is brief, it serves as an epilogue to the character as Sho is able to step up and become the strong duelist that Ryu believed he could be. Sho inherits the Cyberdarks after he had promised that he would liberate Ryu from them.
兄さん、
そのデッキはもうお前のものだ。
兄さん。
俺はまた一からデッキを作る。さらに進化したデッキを。
Ryu tells Sho that his dream is to create his own pro league and asks if Sho would like to help in the venture. Sho accepts, and the brothers repair their relationship. If we were to look at the character Ryo Marufuji, the likely thought is that he is a strong duelist with a cool deck, iconic look, and had one of the best duels in the anime's history. A surface level analysis of his character is that it is a warning about prodigies entering the real world and encountering struggles that they are not prepared for before ultimately flaming out. When you peel the layers back, you see the tale of a young man that faced adversity, pushed through it, and made mistakes. Even though mistakes were made, Ryu's mission was still the same. Find the potential in every duelist. The expectations for Ryu were high, and he was able to find some success in the 2-year period after his graduation. Although he is no longer able to duel, he looks to the future instead of lamenting what he had lost. Opening a pro league for more duelists to accomplish their dreams lines up with Ryu's character and provides another lesson for the audience. You may not accomplish what was expected of you, but you can always find ways to improve. There are new dreams to be had and actions to be made. The prodigy may burn out, but you can light a new fire for the new you.
俺は死なない。この輝く瞬間を感じている限り、俺に死の闇は訪れない。瞬間は永遠となるのだ。